Welcome to Faith-Led Healing with Tammy Trayer, Integrative Health Practitioner and Certified Breathworker. Tammy's passion is to help people take their life and health into their own hands so they can live their best life ever. Imagine having the energy to fulfill your dreams and create the life you desire. Rebalance your body by removing the stresses and toxicity and start healing. Listen as Tammy guides you along the healthy path with the Lord leading the way.
Hey my friends, welcome to Faith-Led Healing. I am your host Tammy Trayer, and today is episode number 31, and we are going to talk about hydration. Super important. We've talked about sleep, we've talked about detoxification, but one of the great tools that we have to help us in detoxification is hydration. And it's really important because when we get dehydrated, a lot of things happen. The body can't do what it needs to do. The organs don't have enough nourishment and fluid to be able to do what they need to do, and things start to go south. The other problem is our fascia and our body gets dehydrated as well. And our fascia, they've found over the last several years that the fascia actually has purpose, and it is what holds the body together, helps hold the body together, and helps keep us in alignment. And when we get dehydrated, our fascia, the layer under our skin, loses its oomph. So let's just use a sponge as an example. When a sponge is dried out, what does it feel like? It's hard and it's brittle, and when it's wet, it's very pliable and it's movable. And we need that in our body, and we neglect to think of that when we aren't drinking enough. And a lot of people struggle to just drink water, or they drink a lot of coffee and they think that they're hydrating. Caffeine and coffee actually dehydrates, so does alcohol. So knowing what to drink and how to nourish your body, and tips and tricks along the lines of hydration is what I want to talk about today. And we did talk about the fascia a little bit last week, I believe, when I was talking about sleep, and we were talking about the MELT method. It's MELT, MELT method. I utilize that all the time to rehydrate the fascia. Unlike the body, when you start rehydrating, your organs start to revitalize through the hydration. Our fascia does not do that on its own. It needs manipulation. And there are little balls that you can use on your hands and also on your feet. And then there's also rollers that you can use. And just by getting one part of your body, getting that fluid in motion, it starts to get the fluid all through the body in motion. The creator of the MELT method, Sue Hitzman, her mess became her message through her health journey, and she created the MELT method, and I highly recommend it. You can go to faithledhealing.com/MELT method, and you will find all the information you need to on the process. You will see me sharing some of her videos upcoming. A lot of us hold our tension in our neck because we're sitting in front of the boxes, a machine of some sort, or we're down on our phones all the time. That really jacks up our necks. And a lot of times we think it's muscular and that we think it's skeletal, but by just manipulating the fascia, we can really relieve the body and get that fluid going and help our body to be held together better. So that is a form of, rehydrating our tissue and our fascia. But the one key thing is also keeping our bodies hydrated, which is really vital. And, through the different seasons, we tend to be better or worse in our hydration, but it's really important that we are drinking 60 to 80 ounces of water a day. And that can be really hard for some. I know for myself, I struggle with drinking that volume unless I'm like really active and working out. So what I have found for myself is drinking tea or drinking lemon water. So I'm just going to share a little bit of my routine with you. I wake up every morning and I do lemon juice, Himalayan sea salt or Celtic sea salt, and 8 ounces of water. Sometimes I'll add stevia to that. That not only rehydrates the body, it rehydrates the brain. When we sleep at night, the brain detoxifies and it shrinks in size. So when we wake up in the morning, by hydrating like that, we are actually not only hydrating our body and our organs, but rehydrating our brain. The lemon and the sea salt or Celtic salt adds the minerals back into our body, which is super important as well. And then I use My Water. It's an app, and it's just a reminder for me to continue drinking throughout the day. I also track my drinking so that I can kind of keep an eye on where I'm at. By doing that, it just is kind of creating that new habit to keep drinking fluids. Now, I also detox fairly often, and when I'm detoxing, I am drinking 20 ounces of liquid 4 times a day. So that in and of itself helps me greatly. And using a container like that, I use a shaker for that, and it is a 20-ounce container. So by using that container alone and making sure I drink 4 of those a day, regardless if I'm detoxing or not, that is a guarantee that I'm getting all the fluid I need. If you struggle just drinking straight water, adding lemon and a little bit of stevia is a great way to hype things up. Sometimes I will do a little bit of lemon essential oils or orange essential oils in my water, or just straight lemon juice. And then teas are a great thing. Now, when I know a lot of people that drink sweet tea or they drink soda. Those are not good for you. They have high fructose corn syrup in them or high amounts of sugar. You want to avoid the sugar. So I make my own sweet tea, and I actually sun brew my tea, and I use my own tea leaves. So you can pull the leaves off of your tea plant, put them in a 2-quart canning jar, and I put that out in the sun and let that sit in the sun for a couple hours, and then and that's concentrated. So then I pour half of that into a pitcher, add a little bit of stevia and a little bit more water, put them both in the refrigerator so that I can, empty the pitcher and then add the other tea in it and then get it out in the sun again, and just kind of create a routine there. Or you could use 2 of the canning jars like that and just keep them constantly rotating, that you're making your own tea and you're using stevia. You can also use honey, but I prefer the stevia myself, but whatever you choose. I would not use these synthetic sweeteners, and I enjoy using the stevia, but I make sure that I'm getting a good quality brand, or I'm making my own, and I get organically harvested honey. It's really important because a lot of the honeys are harvested along the highways. I'm very cautious in the honeys that I use. Those will keep your sugar intake down, but allow you to have really good fluid intake. And, being able to change your flavors. There's all kinds of different teas, herbal teas, that you can have raspberry tea, you can have nettle tea. I switch it up. I'm a tea and a coffee connoisseur, so I'm constantly creating new varieties. I'm using my own homegrown tea, or I'm purchasing organic tea. Here's the other thing you want to be careful of. Just purchasing any kind of tea in the grocery store. For one, you have bleached tea bags, and 2, you have teas that are harvested and aren't, that they may have chemicals and pesticides on them. So again, you want to be conscious of what you're purchasing and what you're using. I like to get non-bleached tea bags. I prefer to use the tea, loose tea, and I will use a stainless steel infuser to infuse the tea rather than using anything silicone or aluminum, especially when you're doing hot teas. So keep that in mind, because if you have detoxed metals and you're using aluminum in your tea to infuse your tea, or the silicone, those leach back into your waters and into what you're making for yourself. I know it might seem overwhelming when I share all these things, but when you start to hone in on taking it to certain levels and really thinking about all these things, once you have the things to use and you've replaced your aluminum with stainless steel, those things aren't very expensive. And once you buy it, it's once and done. Purchase those infusers and replace those things and use them and provide yourself with healthier end results. Being conscious of the tea that you're using and the spices you're using in your kitchen, you know, really taking things to the deepest of details. But when you do, moving forward, you're all set up. So I do want you thinking about all these things, regardless if it is overwhelming or not. You need to be aware that these things play a role in our health and healing. And more, we need to be conscious and aware. They're putting things in our food, in our drinks, in our tea bags, in the medications. And you know, I avoid big pharma and big medicine like 99.9% of the time. There is a time and a place, and I will share that. But for me, I really focus on doing everything myself and doing everything naturally. And that includes, you know, our food and the things we're drinking, being really aware of what we are ingesting and putting on our bodies. So I would really highly recommend that if you are a soda person, that you either switch to organic sodas. There are such things. Zevia. I'm going to have to make a list of all the different, I will do that in the show notes for today's episode. So faithledhealing.com/podcast-31. There are some really good organic sodas. They do not have high fructose corn syrup. They have healthy ingredients. They still have the fizz. They have really good flavors. If you're a soda person and you just can't give that up, I would recommend that you switch brands, because I know that if you are drinking soda, you are likely drinking Coke or Pepsi or Mountain Dew. That just makes me want to hurl. Mountain Dew is like the worst of all of them. Then you have those of you that are doing energy drinks. If you are doing energy drinks, I'm going to put in the show notes for today's episode as well some natural replacements that you can use that will benefit you so much greater than anything that you're using, such as Monsters and those type of drinks. Those are so terrible for you. So there's some natural things you can do that are very beneficial. And when you can switch over and make that habit of being aware that the things you're drinking are very harmful for the body and causing extra weight on the body, causing toxicity in the body, so beneficial. But also just drinking, making sure that you're drinking things that are going to nurture the body and keep it hydrated. I'm in a very humid environment right now. And, you know, humidity causes the body to lose all of its minerals. It causes you to sweat out all of your minerals and to need more hydration. So, you know, knowing that you're in the heat of the summer and that you need to drink a little more and be cautious of that, it's really, really important. Bug flying around here, sorry. So those are the things I wanted to share. If you can't keep track of your intake of fluids on your own, find an app for your phone that will track it, or write it down. Do something to really start honing in and make that a habit. Pay attention to it really deeply for 21 days or more. 21, 30 days creates a new habit, because if you are not getting enough fluid, it can affect so much in the body, even your sleep and how your organs are running and what your body is able to optimally do. Headaches, dizziness. Dehydration is not cool, and you don't want to get your body to that place because it really depletes it. And if you are trying to detoxify, all the more reason to drink even more water. When I have people doing breathwork sessions with me, I encourage them to drink more fluids. When you are detoxing, drink more fluids because the body needs that fluid to keep the liver flushing. So remember that. And by dehydrating ourselves, we really deplete a lot of our minerals and our vitamins and the things that we need to keep the body running even more optimally. And when we don't have the minerals and the vitamins in the system can't detoxify naturally as it's supposed to. So there you go. There's your tips and tricks today on hydration. Really important, especially in this season where we are in the heat of summer, we're stepping into that, and really, really important. So I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing well, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. God bless.
Thank you for joining us on Faith-Led Healing, where every day is one step closer to your best life ever. We hope you enjoyed the show and encourage you to join us at faithledhealing.com. Connect with us on your favorite podcast app and be sure to leave us a review. Remember, your best life is just down the path. The Faith-Led Healing